Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Vbt08 here. Man, it's been so long, I can't even begin to describe just how long it has been for me to actually do an actual video on cards, physical cards. I won't talk too much about it, but today we'll be going through the Dragonic Blademaster Souen deck profile. I'm a Blademaster fan, so y'all should have seen this coming. That we're finally doing it. It's here. It's Souen. Now, this review comes extremely late for good reason. First of all, the coronavirus, and then my supplier, he got delayed, so yeah, not very fun, but it's finally here. I've tested it, and so it is what it is, you know. One thing I just have to put it out there first though. I know I made a very long video talking about the weaknesses of Souen as well as its relative strength. Of course, that was before I had the physical cards. Of course, I did test it when I made that video, but now I will be actually going through the deck in general. I am aware that there is currently there's a book Souen deck list, you know, the one with the stout arm chapter, the order grade 3. I think it's an okay deck, but I personally have my reservations against it because when I tried it, it just wasn't very good, and I'll explain why. But anyways, we'll be going through this. Is my personal build. If you like it, well, leave a like, subscribe if you want, and just keep on the channel because there is more. I have done a lot of content behind the scenes, and it just hasn't had the chance to come out. Especially with the whole Zazan drama. I had so many premium deck profiles that I had to throw out the window because of Zazan. But who knows, if Zazan seriously gets banned on the 14th of July, I may just go back to doing a bit more premium content. After all, the premium collection gave us so many good strides. So let's get right into it. So, of course, we play 4 copies of Dragonic Blademaster Souen. Move this down. 4 copies of Souen. Souen is essentially the OG that was made in Vbt08, but just a lot faster. So I don't think I need to actually specifically say skill, but I guess I will for those who don't know. So during your turn, if your opponent has no rear guards, him and the vision token gain 10k. So the vision is something I'll be showing off later. And then after that, the second skill is you discard 2. Superior Call Vision token, so that's how he comes around. And then after that, you can you summon it, and then if you have Doha and Garan on the field, you get to retire off your opponent's rear guards. So this is Doha, very expensive. This is Garan, not so expensive. We'll be going through all of these though, but I just need to reference it here and there so that you know just what exactly you're in for. So that's Souen, and oopsie. This always happens. So that's Souen, and since we're on the topic of Souen, I would bring in this guy, Dragonic Blademaster, the base form. In this list, I play 4. All right. I will go through that why. Blademaster is obviously the slower version of Souen, but then again, he is the original. The only major difference he has is firstly, the skill to superior call vision and to retire all your rear guards if you have Doha and Garan. It needs a soul blast, and you need Doha and Garan together at the board when this starts, which means that you need to have both conditions met before you get both effects, the mass retire as well as the superior call vision. Whereas for Souen, it splits the causes up. So you discard 2, you get vision. You have Doha and Garan, you get the board clear. So when it splits up the cost that way, you don't feel like you're paying such a large cost for the swing effect. You can choose then whether you want to have this or not, you see, and then you can just proportion it out here and there. Blademasters, the old version is slower because it does require a Soul Blast of the grade 3, which is obviously very slow in today's extremely fast meta. But I'll say one thing. The one thing I do like about base form Blademaster is his skill that he passively gets 5k in a crit if your opponent has no rear guards. 18k base, this guy, you don't even need to talk about MLB. This was your original 18k base, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, overshadowed. But The passive crit also helps because if you, let's say, don't get into Souen and you start with this guy and you get to, kill his board, you get to open with 2 crits on the first attack, which is obviously pretty good. And the fact that Blademaster in premium and in standard, I'll always keep saying this, the ideal gift is Force 2. With Force 2, you get to potentially open with 3 crit, which of course is no laughing matter. The other grade 3 you play in this deck, yes, it's not the book, like I said, this is not the book deck. It's Dragonic Ishak. Ishak is a major sleeper in this set. Like, major sleeper. He's the best budget grade 3 kagero ever has, period. If you play kagero, you're a budget player, you need to pick Ishak up. And here's why. His skill is, during your turn, if you have no rear guard, if your opponent has no rear guards, he pumps 10. CB1, retire one of your opponent's rear guards. If you have 2 or more grade 3 units, he gets to retire 2 instead of 1. Now, obviously, he can be used as a ride, but we are not using that here. Ishak is used for a completely different reason. Ishak is used when you don't have Doha and Garan, because if you CB2, he instantly, CB1, he can easily just snipe down 2 pieces on your opponent. If, let's say, for example, you're on a Blademaster and this is your rear guard, you get to burn 2. That's for 1 CB. You pay 2 CB, he burns 4. By then, you should be able to proc both skills. He gets a 10, he gets 5k in a crit. Pretty slick if you ask me. But let's say you don't get to do that. You can just CB2, right? And then just, retire up to 4 of your opponent's units or 2. Because this is quite a good swing. You can even CB3, I don't really care. Burn 6 of his units if he's playing XL or something. And, it would still be a relatively better investment because you may not have Doha and Garan available to you. And that's always a problem. Ishak is that safety net that you always need. Now, why 2? Well, I have tried playing him at 3. But then again, I realized that because first of all, I'm a Blademaster fan, so I want to play 4 of the OG. But in the case that, let's say, you actually are interested in this Ishak idea, and you seriously want to actually bring this around for, don't use Blademaster competitively. Let's say you want to use him in a, just a little bit more of a more challenging setting, then I would say play a 3rd copy of Ishak and cut Blademaster to 3. But if, let's say, you are not interested in Ishak in general, then just don't play Ishak, play the book. But like I said, I'm not personally for the book, but if you like the book, you can go ahead. But the book, yeah, we'll get to that later. Alright, so of course, we need to play 4 copies of Doha. Period. No Blademaster deck operates without Doha. Like, this, I've seen people say, oh, budget players, if you know what you're doing, you can just play for Souen, for Ishak, and throw out Doha. This is absolute trash of a statement. First of all, if you do that, that means you seriously need to bring Eremo along. Eremo, the very expensive grade 1. He's not very expensive because he was reprinted, but you get my point. Secondly, Doha has his own skill of the guard restraint. So, that's pretty good. If your opponent has no rear guards, your opponent cannot guard with normal units. Of course, it's always a valuable skill. But of course, his CB1 ability to instantly train Garan onto the board makes this a K and Bedivere style combination. The fact that, Garan also has his skills that trigger when your opponent has no rear guards just make it even more devastating of a beatdown. So honestly, I know that Doha is pricey, I understand. But if you tell me that you can seriously play Blademaster without Doha, I seriously challenge that. I could say that for Lava Flow. Lava Flow is more expensive than Doha, and I'll get to him later. But if I choose between the lesser of 2 evils or lesser of 2 expensive cards, it's going to be Doha. You seriously need Doha in this deck. It's too critical, so I just have to raise it up. You want to know more reasons why it's critical? Because we need to train it. 4 copies of Dragon Dancer Faja. Faja is one of the most fun early game cards I've played in Vanguard in general. On place on Vanguard or Rearguard, open the top 5 cards of your deck, look for Doha or Garan, so the grade 2 or the grade 1, alright, and add it to your hand. It's a free plus, instantly. You find it, you get it. Yeah, sure, you only can get 1 of either, so you can't like open both and be like, aha, I get 2. But the fact that you even get a +1 for absolutely free is insane. It also benefits the consistency of Doha and Quran. Now, yes, I've mentioned this card on my review of Blademaster that, what if you whiff? Yes, you will whiff, but this is still free at the end of the day. This is not like, say, Full Armored Dragon Buster. When you Soul Blast 2 cards to open the top 7, you may not even get it, You may not even get your Overlord, and you just paid a hefty cost for it. So, that if you ask me, that whiff is more deadly. I would even say Shrine Bardichair, the Grade 3 card that used to search the OG Blademaster, he is a worse card than this because he had to Soul Blast 1 and then he gains 5k at the end of the turn. You will see the first skill that it can gain 5k by itself if your opponent has no rear guards. This instantly just pluses like mad for free. Of course, when you do your big Blademaster swing turns, this is not a card you want on the board. You want space for Doha, you want space for, the Vision token. But in the case that you're not doing that swing turn right now, Faja is still a great addition to the deck. Of course, if you are one of those 7 people who are not playing Doha in your Blademaster deck, then you seriously should not be playing Faja. But this is for anybody who's playing Blademaster regularly. Lastly, our last Grade 2 pick is something that took me a long time to consider, but I decided. 2 pieces of Torrid Cannon. I've seen people play 4, I've seen people play 3, and I've seen people play 2. I'm personally going for 2 because, first of all, I have a lot of Grade 2s, and secondly because, well, you see my Grade 1 lineup, and you'll see exactly what I'm going for. But Torrid Cannon is more of a tech option. He's not the major removal piece that some of the builds use him for, like, they tank on him to remove. He is a very good early game and late game card. Just no matter where he's in, even in Overlord, he is a confirmed staple. And here's why. Card Blast 1 once per turn, take a normal card from your drop zone and put it at the bottom of your deck. Retire one of your opponent's Grade 2 or lower rear guards, and then if you have 4 less cards in your hand, you can draw a card. The 4 less cards phase is meant for Overlord DX, since as you'll probably know by now, DX is the cause that your hand is always counted as 0. So, yay! But you still get a free recycle. This is still a Dragonic Burnout effect, and Dragonic Burnout is a relatively good card. Just of course not anymore, but back in its time, I would say it is relatively solid. This guy is the spiritual successor of Dragonic Burnout. Yes, Burnout and him have a difference that Dragonic Burnout can retire regardless of the grade, but Torrid Cannon stuck at a 2 or lower burn. But honestly, that doesn't really matter because, like I said, we're playing Blademaster. We can swipe the board, But this is just to pick up the key pieces that you seriously don't want around in the early game, mid game, or just late game. And, the draw a card if you have 4 less cards is handy because when you use Blademaster quite a lot, you are discarding quite a fair bit of cards, and hand size can be an issue. So Torrid Cannon can help with that little refill. Regardless, even if you don't get to use that draw and you seriously need to pick off a key piece, I still recommend Torrid Cannon. Now we move on to the Grade 1s. For Garan. I think Garan is obviously a 4-off because he's just like Doha. His skill is if your opponent has no rear guards, he gains 5. So he's a 13k boosters. Yes, 13k boosters before Mighty Bolt. So once again, Blademaster was foreshadowing things. The second skill is a more of a tech skill, alright? When he boosts an attack that hits, if he boosts if he boosts Doha, he needs to boost Doha, so this guy, okay? If he boosts Doha, you can count last 1, draw a card, and soul charge 1. Now, this is used, like I said, for a quick refill. If you use Blademaster's ability, you've got rid of quite a fair bit of cards in your hand, and you want to refill. If Doha swings and hits, you CB1, you get a draw, and you get a soul charge as well. So, I mean, if you need the soul charge, it's good, but if not, the draw is still worth it for the CB1, I can guarantee you that. But you don't want to use this skill all the time because you may want to save your counter blast for other cards like, Ishak or Torrid Cannon or Doha. So I don't really end up using Garan skill often. I don't think many people actually do, but it is something you should keep in mind when actually playing Blademaster. You know, the non-Doha and Garan people, you don't have to take notes. But if you are actually doing this properly, you would keep this skill in mind, but you don't have to use it all the time. It's not a, you know, compulsory must-use skill always. You can choose to just not do it. Next up is a little of a controversial choice. I play 4 of her. Dragon Dancer Soja. Her skill was errata, so my review of her is wrong. I did write in the video description that, you know, there is an error. The errata version makes her a lot better. So last one, when placed, choose any copies of Garan or Doha. I did that in the wrong order. Put them in the bottom of your deck. This unit gains 5k for each copy of each that you put under. This card to me, needs to be played at 4. Although I've seen decks that played at 3, 2, and even a 1 for one guy who tried testing it with me as well. I personally have come to the conclusion that 4 is the safest number, because with the amount of discards, guards, and, you know, stuff goes into the damage zone, you have to write stuff. If you play 2 or even 3, you may not even get to use this. So 4 is a safer number for me. And I know what you all are also saying, you know? So what if you play 4? Like, at most you use this skill once, right? Well, yes, but that 1 is just really good in that swing because it reloads all your Dohas and Garans back to your deck. As many that's in the drop zone, that is. So even if it's just 1 Doha and 1 Garan, I would say you're getting quite a lot of value. Especially if you cycle more Garans back so they can be superior caught by the Dohas. You get what I mean. It's just good refill. Is this worth the 4 slot? Well, for me, I felt it is. But for some, it may not. So you are free to exercise your own discretion. But I still think it's worth playing it in a deck that needs Doha and Garan. Like, even if you're playing in premium, like premium Blademaster, I may not recommend Faja, but I would still say Soja should stay at even a 2 tech, because hey, refilling a deck, who doesn't like that? And keep in mind, the best you can get out of her is to refill 8 cards back into your deck, and then this card pumps like what? 8 cards, you pump 20k. The 20k doesn't matter, you're getting 8 cards back. It's a lot, but that's the best case scenario. Now, 3 copies of Lava Flow. This card is stupidly expensive, and I mean it. Like, the price of this changed from like something like 10 Singapore dollars to 50 Singapore dollars overnight. This is the Singapore market I'm talking about. The Japan market obviously brought it a lot worse, because all the Overlord players bought it exactly as I predicted. But I'm not here to complain. It's a good card. Is it worth the very high price tag? Absolutely not. It does help in consistency. It's a good 13k booster. But is it worth the high price tag? No. But that's the problem. It's not worth the high price tag. But if you intend to play Blademaster or Overlord, just any kagero deck, the sad truth is you actually need this card, because the Souen needs to be placed as a first right, especially if you want a proper game. DX needs to be a first right if you want to kill your opponent. So you need to play Lava Flow at 3 to 4 copies. And yeah, I mean, I played 3 firstly because of financial constraints, and secondly, later on I'll show you, I think 4 is a bit excessive, because once you go into Souen, at least for Blademaster, you don't really need another copy of Souen. You can effectively stay on the same copy. But for DX, I don't know what's the situation. I guess you may want as many copies of DX as possible. So yeah, but this is still sadly a must for kagero decks. Like, no matter what anybody says, despite its high price, if you want to play kagero at any form of higher level, you're gonna need to cough out a lot of money. And that is why Blademasters and kagero in general is just not a very cheap deck. So I just have to put it out there. If you're planning to buy this deck, I mean, yeah, you can go ahead. You cannot buy Doha. You cannot buy Lava Flow. But just the deck just won't work as it's meant to be. And that is something I have to inform my viewers. We play 2 copies of Wyvern Strike Member Bus. Member Bus was the first Kagero card that was revealed for Vbt08, and it was our gauge that Blademaster and Blaze was returning, and surprise, he did. But I still feel Member Bus deserves a spot on this list, despite the fact that you would literally see no one try this at all. The fact is, of course, when he boosts, if your opponent has no rear guards, if he wants to guard, he needs 2 or more cards. I still feel that this is a worthwhile effect. I only play 2 because it's rather situational, but if you manage to use Blademaster to pressure the opponent's hand effectively, even if you only get to use him once for a booster, he does effectively prevent your opponent from perfect guarding, which of course is very valuable in a deck that only has about 3 major swings, so you need to use as much of it as possible. Starter is Raopia, basically Blademaster starter. We play 6 draw. Yes, my Baria original print. I don't buy the Festival Collection. Alright, so you need Bari. I mean, yes, you can try the Crit Sentinel, but personally, I still think Bari is superior. Perfect guards, especially for something like Kagero, you are going to need a PG. Why 6 draw? Because Blademaster has the tendency of having low hand size. You want something to do a quick refill, it helps. We play 6 crit as well, because Blademaster has 3 major swings with a total of 4 drive checks, so it is still good to get your crits in. I think this is a relatively good split of crit and draw. You can try 8 draw, you can try 8 crit, but after testing, I feel this is more consistent. Of course, if your list varies, you can try it as well. Move this out of the way. Come back, Buri. And then, of course, for heal. We play this version because this was the OG Blademaster heal trigger from Vbt08 that finally got reprinted. This art is really nice. Yeah, but I mean, if you have other heal triggers, just use it. Obviously, we play 4. We play 1 Vision. Vision is a great tree that can do twin drive. Only can be summoned through the effects of Blademasters. So if you don't play Souen, if you don't play the original, he's not coming out to the field. But he's literally just a one-off token. I don't understand why every time I pre-order or buy Blademaster stuff, the suppliers always give me a 4-off. You seriously only need 1, and that's why I have 12 Blademasters Vision tokens on my wall, just plastered there as wallpaper. But seriously, you just need 1, because at any one point in time, the maximum you can summon is 1. But I mean, if you want to flex your 12 copies, go ahead. No one's going to stop you. As I said before, the ideal gift for Blademaster is Force 2. Force 2, which easily gives a circular crit, can put a lot of pressure, especially with your large swings. Force 1 is also an option here. It's not a hard and fast rule, but seeing that Blademaster wants to close a game whenever it can, especially with Souen's speed being a lot higher than the original, you would aim for a Force 2. But in the situation that you need to play Force 1 because you need to swing over higher numbers or something, I wouldn't say don't do the Force 2. You should do Force 1 if you seriously think about it. But if not, Force 2 is usually our preset gift. Okay guys, that wraps it up. Wow, I feel rusty, but I'm just so happy I can get this done. Final thoughts on this deck. Blademaster has a very weird price ratio because while Souen and Blademaster are stupidly cheap, Doha, Lava Flow are nowhere near cheap. There are decks that play Eremo as well. He's not cheap. So the cost of actually starting a Blademaster deck is high. Is it worth it though? Maybe, maybe not. You may want to spend on another deck. Or you may just, since you're already spending so much, you might as well just buy freaking Overlord. But if you're a Blademaster fan or you already have Doha, I mean, Souen's not a bad investment. about book Souen, the Stout Arm Chapter Souen, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's very innovative, and props to whoever came up with that idea. I think it's KUCG. I'm not here to give credit, but yeah, I think he's the first one to actually surface this. Blademaster can afford the Counter Blast tree and Soul Blast tree. It's not a bad idea at all. But the deck is a bit inconsistent because of the fact that you have 2 to 4 solid grade trees that sit in your deck and do nothing for a right target. That means you are forced to play 4 Souen and 4 Lava Flow. So if you can afford it, go right ahead. And even if you can, it's not really worth the investment, because I mean the order card only makes Souen's turns more heavy in terms of its swinging. It does not solve its consistency, it does not solve its defensive problems, it just makes the deck better at what it does. So all its weaknesses are retained and amplified if you play that order card. So, and you also need Airmo. If you play the order card, you instantly need 4 Airmo. So I mean, if you can afford it, sure. If you can't, no. And another thing is that Ishak is a real sleeper in this set. Do pick him up if you are playing a budget Kagero deck, waterfall deck, dual X deck, or if you're just playing Souen like me and not the book version, you should pick Ishak up. So yeah, that wraps it up for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like it, subscribe, leave a like. I mean, when I first did Blademaster Standard, you guys loved it. Like, there were 1,000+ views. I'm not saying I want another 1,000+ views, but I mean, if you like if you like a little bit more of a more traditional Blademaster deck, I would say this is as close as it gets. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see all of you next time.